So, Carl, we're talking about, we had 3 circles on our map earlier today.
Yep.
There's one over Florida, which looks like is a spin, but not at the surface.
Yeah, that's right. It's in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, and it might burrow down a little bit, but it's going to be over the state of Florida when it does, so it's not really going to do much more than just produce some rain there in Florida.
That circle's out.
Yep.
But 2 more to watch.
2 more to watch. One area of interest is in the middle of the Atlantic. The other one is now still on the coast of Africa, and we'll focus in on the central Atlantic system. First of all, this is visible satellite imagery, so this is basically a series of photographs taken by the satellite after the sun has come up, and there is the spin right there. What you notice is the lack of bright white cloud, like you see right there. Those are thunderstorms, and we're not really seeing those about the center of this thing. So the odds of this thing developing have now been lowered by the National Hurricane Center from 30% to 20%. Now it appears that it does not have a really good chance of developing over the next 5 days, although the European model, curiously, is actually a little bit more bullish than the GFS model. The GFS model typically wants to develop storms more than the European.
We've seen that.
And the opposite is true in this case, but both models are showing a weaker system. Nonetheless, it does bring something up generally towards the southeast part of the U.S., so we'll want to keep a very close eye on it.
And we're getting towards the peak of hurricane season. This is not surprising to see these things to watch.
Absolutely.
What about the thing behind it? Because it seems like dry air just keeps eating away at every wave off the coast of Africa.
Yeah, and that could be a feature in this particular case, but as each of these systems come out, they moisten the atmosphere a little bit more. And so as the next one comes out, the models have been suggesting that it will be fairly strong. It's on the coast right now. It's got a 30% chance of developing in the next 5 days. And let's take a look at what the model is showing. So here's the GFS model, and we're watching for the spin as indicated by that blue shading right there. And you see that coming out across the Cape Verde Islands and then moving out into the North Atlantic. And this particular model actually kind of takes it to the left and then back around to the right. And so basically we think it's going to stay over the open water at this point. But this model also is showing that there may be some successive disturbances that do actually do something.
And 'tis the season for that. Speaking of the season, it was a year ago today that we were watching Isaac 1 day away from making landfall.
That's exactly right. And this is an amazing satellite picture. This is a visible nighttime image, and this is a relatively new development. So this is like the visible pictures we get with sunlight, but the camera is so sensitive that it shows us a visible picture at night. Those are city lights. That's South Florida right there. There's Jacksonville, there's Atlanta, and there's that storm that produced a tremendous amount of surge there in southeast Louisiana, 15 feet in parts of Plaquemines Parish.